Yeah, hit the likes and subs. Oh, yeah, they're in full coat mode right now. That's right.
Everything I want, everything I need, a mansion by the beach, just so I can feel it ease, just so I can feel the beat. Need a couple balconies, just so I can feel the breeze. Waves crashing under, waves crashing over me, waves crashing on the beach, just so I can fall asleep, just so I can feel at peace. Please do not disturb my peace. Need a mansion by the beach, just so I can hear the trees. Lizards crawling on the leaves, couple tricks up under sleeve. Need a mansion by the beach, just so I can give a speech. Couple balconies at least, just so I can feel the breeze, just so I can feel the peace. Blades swing from 7 seas, sharks made from concrete, sand whiter than some tea. No need to play for keeps, I can't give myself on leads. I ain't always gotta speak, I see peak up in my reach. Just a mansion by the beach, might go platinum over peach, might just both just with the crease, crushed kiwi acai. Everything that I need, everything that I want, everything that I need, everything that I want, thing that I need. Need a mansion by the beach, just so I can feel at ease, just so I can feel the beat. Need a couple balconies, just so I can feel the breeze. Waves crashing under, waves crashing over me, waves crashing on the beach, just so I can fall asleep. Need a mansion by the beach, might go platinum over peach, might jabos with the crease, just so folks know how I sleep. Fly like linen, foreign sheets, 7 days about the week. Huskies never need a leash, huskies never need a leash. I don't never need to speak, you've been talking in my sleep. I've been jumping over jeeps, I've been jumping over sheep. Need a couple balconies, just so I can feel the breeze. Everything that I want, everything that I need, everything that I want, thing that I need. Need a couple balconies, just so I can feel the breeze. Waves crashing on the beach, just so fall asleep, just so I can feel the breeze, just so I can feel at ease.
God bless. Good day. Welcome to the great show we have lined up for you today. We have so much in store, so much to talk about. Wow, don't even know where to begin. Shout out to the great crowd. I got a little bit of a late start today. Late start. I got a late start. So I don't know. Hopefully I can go for an hour, but if not, what do you want to talk about? I don't know, man. I went bowling recently with my kids. And it was obviously somewhat entertaining. But I was thinking, like, who the fuck bowls anymore? I didn't think it'd be crowded. I hadn't been to this bowling alley since I was a little kid, and I got there and it was packed. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I get in and it's Boomer City, dude. Holy shit, dude. I just packed and stacked with old people from lane to lane to lane to lane to lane. I couldn't believe it, dude. Old people love bowling. They absolutely love it. And it was fun. I got a strike or two. But these old dude, I don't know what it is, dude, but I gotta figure it out. I think it's just old age, dude. But every old woman, I think it's there's got to be something to it. But old women, the hair doesn't go below the ears. And I always wonder, why is that? Does the hair go brittle? Do women go bald? What happens to women? Every old woman in there had a haircut like a 7-year-old boy, just not even below the ears. Just strange looking. Old women when they get old look strange a little bit, dude. If you didn't know, but if you just looked at the whole crowd of boomers from the back, you're like, dude, look at all these men. No, a lot of them women. But I had a good time bowling. That's like the most exciting thing I've done this past week. Right next to the bowling alley though, I went to was a mushroom company. I was like, what is that? A mushroom company? Never seen one of them in my life, dude. I was like, what is that? Mushroom company. So I go, obviously I go there with my kids and it's a little field trip. And I go in, dude, and I don't know if you've ever been inside a mushroom. I called it a mushroom farm just to simplify it for my children. I'm like, this is a mushroom farm. Well, what's that smell? Well, that's the smell of earth. I'm like, it stinks. I'm like, yeah, that's just how the earth smells, you guys. So I go in there. I'm like, hey, it's like a 2-for-1 business. You ever been to this business doesn't know what it is? It's a 2-for-1 business. It says like, we're a mushroom company. And then right next to it says drywall. I was like, what the hell? What are you? Are you selling drywall or are you selling mushrooms? Obviously, they were selling mushrooms. And they gave me a little tour, dude, and I immediately wanted to be a mushroom grower. I go in there and they have like 2 Mexicans and 1 white guy working and this huge cooking machine and they're sterile. I don't even know what they're just, I had no clue cooking was involved. But they had to cook some stuff for the mushrooms to grow in. They explained things I didn't understand, but they were just all this stuff, dude. And they had bags and bags and bags of mushrooms and real earthy smell. And it looked cool. Like I was like, damn, this would be like a chill job. You know what I mean? Like kind of labor intense, but also chill because you're around Mother Nature. And it's an indoor farm. That's like figuring it out, like I want to do farm labor work, but I want to do it indoors. So, next time around, I decided if I get reincarnated, I'm going to start a mushroom business and I'm going to just work indoors, hire a couple Mexicans. Cause it seems pretty straightforward and simple. And a lot of these things, and they had a whole room, they opened it up and this mist poured out. And then you look in and they had like Italian mushrooms, pink oysters, lion's mane. They had so many mushroom names. I'm like, what is this? Can you eat all these? They're like, yeah, you can eat them all. We sell these in tinctures and supplements. Wow, that's crazy. So that was a new thing for me. A mushroom farm. I thought it was pretty cool. And it's weird. Like they were hippies. You could tell they were hippies because also they were selling like hippie stuff. They were selling like sage. I was like, why the hell are you selling sage? So they were selling like sage. What else? Palmo Alto or whatever. They were selling. They're just hippy dippy stuff too. I was like, oh, what do you pick a lane? So I actually, what did I get? I bought. Just like as a science experiment, I got some pink oysters. I've never had pink oysters. I don't even know how delicious they are. So we'll see. I got to cook them up. We'll cook them up, some pink oysters. Pretty much, I think mushrooms are like butter. If you just cook them in butter, then they're good. We'll see. But before I get any further, I got to address this great crowd we got here today. Huge crowd, great crowd. We got Rich _3333333. Buddy Boo, Capricorni, Lex Animita, Benton, Jaw, 668. Dude, every day I'm like, when's this guy gonna stream again? I need some monologue inspiration. The largest living organism in Earth is a fungus. That's wild. I thought you were gonna say a blue whale. Usually that's what people go to. There's fungus among us. Yeah, dude, a bunch of fun guys in my chat, dude. I'll tell you that much. But I really, I was looking back in my life, dude. I'm like, I missed out. I should have started a mushroom farm because it looked like you didn't need a lot of work. You know what I mean? They had like 2 Mexican guys. Most farms, to be honest, you need a lot more than 2 Mexican guys working there. You need a bunch, but not on a mushroom farm. So those are the 2 things I did this week. Went bowling, went to a mushroom farm, and I was inspired. I was inspired a little bit. It's never too late to start a business, start a career. Maybe it is too late. I was thinking about that too. I have you have friends and people, like when is it absolutely too late to start a business, to pivot, to change careers? I'm not sure. I'd say 40 years old. I'd say maybe 40, 45. I don't know. After 40, just hang it up, dude. Whatever life path you pick, you're good, dude. Just relax. But sometimes you really do need to pivot and change careers. But America wasn't really made for that. America wasn't really made for people to just change their careers. People can do it, sure. But I think it's almost impossible for most people to just pivot and do something else, which is unfortunate. That's why some people like communism. Because if you're in a communist country, 32 years old is the limit. Yeah, maybe 32 might be the limit. Because you need time. You need time. In a communist country, I think you can always just maybe pivot because the government pays for everything. You're like, you know what? I'm done being a merchant. I want to go to college and be a doctor, and the communist country will just pay for it. Which would kind of piss me off, but I was, do you ever hear people like, it's even worse now than it is before, but you ever hear people like in their 30s or 40s say they're gonna go back to college? Ooh, don't do it. I was talking to my parents about my kids, and I was like, you know what, my kids aren't going to college, and my parents were like shocked. They're like, what? Yeah, why would my kids go to college? The only way my kids go to college is if they get a scholarship. I ain't paying for that shit. College, and I said, if I want my kids to turn into radical liberals, I'll send them to college. If I want them to be indentured wage slave, people, I'll send them to college. My parents couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that I thought college was, not in my kid's playbook, not in my kid's future. But I think college is done for the most part, for most people. I think college is absolutely fucking worthless. No, it's if you want to be something very specific, you want to be a lawyer, go to college. But then again, you know what I mean? How many people at 18 years old know they want to be a lawyer? And, do they even know what that fucking entails? Or did they know they want to be a doctor? Let's think about the things that you really need to go to college to be. A lawyer, a doctor, a dentist. You know what I mean? There's only a couple of them. There's only a couple things. It's weird to see 40-year-olds in classrooms at college. Yeah. And what are you there for? You know what I mean? To learn? Oh, man, learning is the biggest scam. Learning right now, when someone says they can teach you something, it's the biggest scam in the world. Like, any college out there that says, let me teach you about world history for $1,500. Oh, that's a scam, buddy. It used to not be a scam, but everything they're trying to teach you is in a box called a computer. or on your phone, on a little rectangle that's in your pocket. You actually don't need a college. College should absolutely be restructured, and if you look at college and you say, yeah, that's worth it, you're retarded. You know what I mean? You are like, what are you gonna learn in a college that you can't just learn sitting down watching a YouTube video? I'm struggling to think about it. Maybe like hands-on things. Maybe if you're at a college and you're learning how to change, like, because they have they have college for people who want to work on planes. And you know, maybe that's something, because you're like, you got to learn actually how this plane is put together and you're touching it. Maybe that. But what the hell? I can't think of anything, you know, what for, dude? You really just, college is absolutely pointless. It's a big old scam. It used to be valuable, and that's one thing, like my parents, you know, college used to have a purpose. College used to have meaning. But even now, like, it's hard. If I ever go to the doctor, God willing, hopefully I never do, if my doctor is younger than me, I'm just going to find it. I'm going to walk right out. I'm not going to go to a doctor who used ChatGPT to get through college. I'm not going to go to a doctor who's, you know, it's fine if the doctor's older than me and uses ChatGPT. I trust that. You know what I mean? That's smart. But if I go to a doctor, the doctor's younger than me, and all they do is use ChatGPT, that's bad news. You know what I mean? That person's an idiot. They just cheated their way through college, and I'm as much of a doctor as they are. You know what I mean? Honestly, there was you know, that's basically, they got any. Yeah, I just don't trust just don't trust them. And that's the worst part now is doctors and people in college, they used to have real skills they would develop, like writing. Most people now in college, they probably don't write worth shit. It's probably like ChatGPT. Reading. I bet, you know what I mean? Now you could get through college without ever reading a book. You could have it read to you. So, you know, a lot of these people are absolute just, you know, stone cold idiots. What's up, crypto alchemists? Yeah, clown college might be actually worth it. That's interesting to think about, clown college. My success in advanced discoveries and knowledge is definitely not from years of college and university. Absolutely, crypto. What do they call it? You're self-taught. What's up, Capricorn? Yes. Have them be plumbers and electricians. Yeah, even then though, I'm like, nah. I think the secret to life is like starting your own business at a very young age. But first you gotta, you know, I prefer the path, you know, of the 1800s where you apprentice at a young age and then branch off on your own. I think that's the secret to life is apprenticeship. So get into a field of work you're interested in, see how it operates. You know what I mean? Let's say you want to be a baker, go work at Crumble. Go work at a local bakery, see their secrets, and then steal them and then start your own business. That's really the secret, is take other people's ideas and then just rebrand them. You know, that's the secret to life. Good artists copy, great artists steal. You just got to steal other people's ideas and thoughts and then just put a new coat of paint on it and then go to some place where they're not so they can't get you in trouble. And most of the time you won't get in trouble for stealing people's ideas because ideas are a dime a dozen and everybody's taking from each other anyways. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about, people talk about simulation. Let me just get this off my chest anyway. And I was thinking, dude, there's really not a lot to eat in the world, okay? And there's Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I was thinking this today. There's hamburger and chicken, and that's really what we got in America. There's hamburgers and there's chicken. And there's really not a lot of food to eat in this. You know, surprisingly, there's not a lot to eat. And I'm shocked by it, dude. There's a few animals. Why aren't we eating kangaroo? Why, when I go to the grocery store, why is it cow? Why is it chicken? Why is ostrich not on there? You know, sometimes I see bison, but I'm never bold enough to pick it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to try bison today. Ugh. Why isn't there deer? Like, why, you know, why are we only given cow and chicken? And there's really not a lot of produce. You got carrots, you got lettuce. The actual, amount of things to eat on this planet is very slim. That's why you look at the Chinese and they're creative. They eat dog. And if they eat dog, you go to China, you can eat anything. Dog, cat, rat. Anything that's an astrological sign to them. They don't do like Pisces, Gemini, Aries. They do animals like rat, goat, dragon, whatever. You know what I mean? But basically they just eat everything. And I find that admirable. Oh yeah, salmon, I forgot. There are like there is the seafood options as well. Yeah, but again, limited seafood options. Not a lot. You never go to the store and they have dolphin. That's in Japan. You know what I mean? You only get dolphin in Japan. And it's just strange. Like, people are like, oh, you're crazy. You think we might live in a simulation? I said, have you been to the grocery store lately? Everything's the same. Walk down every aisle, it's all the same shit. Basically, you know what I mean? Carbs, 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 carbs. Processed foods. It's all processed foods. It's all carbs. Then you go to, the meat and produce aisle, chicken, hamburger. Of course, you got your seafood. And then you go to produce, and they got like 4 options. Carrots, asparagus, peppers, and all of it's poisoning you, dude. And one thing I don't understand too, one thing these people haven't explained is why we've been chemically attacked by this salad company, Taylor Farms, and everybody's shitting their pants. You know what I mean? That's one thing that has not been explained to me yet. And I was talking about it, I was making jokes, hee-hees and ha-has about it maybe a week or two ago about how everybody's shitting their pants. And, of course it was Taco Bell, but it's not Taco Bell, it's the lettuce that Taco Bell uses. But you know what I mean? Like who and what is doing this? And how did that all happen? You know what I mean? Explain that. People getting poisoned with cytoplasmosis or whatever the hell they call it. Where am I at? 22 minutes. Okay. So, I just got to get a couple of these things off my chest real quick. So the grocery store, there's really not a lot of options. And I hate, I try looking at all the ingredients, and I usually have to put everything back. Palm oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil. They got so many oils, and I just, if it ain't extra virgin or coconut oil, I ain't buying it. Put it in back. Yeah, why don't we eat raccoon? Thank you, MyTech. There's so many animals in this world, you know what I mean? And we're not really taking advantage of most of them. Nobody's eating, some people do eat horse. I'm not a fan of horse. I don't want to eat horse. Yeah, that's the other thing. Some of these things, even if they offered it to me, I'd probably say no. But I'd like the option. I'd like to visually see the option and know I don't live in a simulation where it's just Coca-Cola, Pepsi, chicken, hamburger, processed food, whole food. I don't know. Those are some of my thoughts, dude. I've had more thoughts lately too. I was thinking about this, dude. A lot of people know that I'm an inquirer into orthodoxy, and I was and if you've listened to maybe some of my shows, I had to take down because I got a little bit agitated about me listening to some people online about different ideas. Should I even talk about this? I was just, like I probably should talk about it. I don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers. Let's just who cares? I was listening to Jay Dyer. Unfortunately. Just kidding. Jay Dyer is fine. And I forget why but I just, briefly, I wasn't listening to Jay Dyer for more than 20, 30 minutes. I was just checking in, seeing like, what's this guy talking about? and he's berating Mormons. He's calling people who are Mormons retards. These retards, these the prairie Muslims. And something really bothered me. I'm like, dude, this is why. And I had to remind myself, dude, the Orthodox people online are not orthodoxy. They're just people, right? They don't represent the Orthodox Church, okay? Because if they did, I'd be like, and first of all, these people they should do whatever they want. Fuck it. They are who they are. And they don't need to apologize. But from my perspective, as a Mormon, it's like, hey, Jay Dyer, you're a fucking retard. Okay? And here's why, dude. I was born in this, dude. I was born a Mormon. So are so many people I know. And you're all over here just like blanket calling us all retards and all this other shit like, oh, these people are dumb. These people believe this. Hey, dude, was born in it, okay? Didn't have a choice, all right? And everybody I know didn't have a choice. We're retards for being born in something? It's like when someone's racist and you're like, dude, these people can't help how they were born. They were born the color they were born, And I get it, dude. If you're an adult and you're still a Mormon and you've opened your idea to the possibility of Orthodoxy or Catholicism and you stood 10 toes down on Mormonism, yeah, call that guy a retard, okay? But everybody else, dude, slow your roll, okay? We were born in this, all right? We didn't have a choice in this, most of us, okay? And I don't like, it just comes off rude. It comes off unappealing. It comes off unchristlike to admonish an entire group of people who, a lot of them, didn't have a choice in what they religiously identify as because they were indoctrinated into something, they were raised in something, and they didn't choose this something. And so, I had to turn Jay Dyer off because he's calling all these Mormons retards. And I'm thinking to myself, what an asshole. Does he not know I didn't have a choice? I was baptized at 8 years old. I was indoctrinated in this. You think I'm a retard? Fuck you, dude. Relax. I'm not a retard. And I like Jay Dyer. I like Orthodoxy. I like the Orthodox people. But the way they look at some of these other groups of people who were just born into something, really nobody had a choice. And I think these Orthodox people, and maybe you could say Orthodox, Catholics, Mormons, anybody who's 10 toes down on their religion and they, some of them are more right than others. Let's just, gun to my head. Someone says, what do you identify as? I'd say, I Orthodox Church, I believe in it, but I'm not an Orthodox. I'm just an inquirer. Please don't kill me. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. But I'm like, truth be told, I'm still a Latter-day Saint. I'm still baptized as a Mormon. Don't kill me. But these people they remind me a lot, like religious people and conspiracy theorists. They're basically the same people. Being prideful in discovering something they think nobody else has discovered. Like a Mormon or an Orthodox or a Catholic is like, no, I found the truth. This is the truth. The Jews did 9/11. You know what I mean? Like, I'm stopping right here. I'm not moving any farther. If you're not where I'm at, you're wrong. If you don't think the earth is flat, you're retarded. But like the bravado, the arrogance of a highly religious person and a highly conspiracy-oriented person are almost mirrored, right? They think they've figured something out. Most people haven't, right? Most people haven't figured out that the LDS Church is the true church, Joseph Smith is the prophet, or, Orthodoxy is the one and only true church of apostolic succession. These highly religious people who are so certain of their religious belief are really no different than a really conspiracy-oriented nut besides, the topic and how they approach it. But they're so full of themselves, dude. They're so full of themselves. And one thing that turned me off a little bit from Orthodox people online and listening to them is just the similarities I found in them that I found in other people who I knew growing up who were LDS or Mormon, whatever you want to call them. They're basically the same people, right? Oh, Provo, you're going to hell, buddy. Oh, Provo, you're not an active Mormon? Dude, you're burning. You're burning. Um, and just like, just the self-righteousness and the ego that comes attached when you figure something out, like you're so fucking smart. Oh, that bothers me. You know what I mean? It just bothers me a little bit. Like, dude, you slow down. You're not as smart as you think you are. And don't be so self-righteous, okay, buddy? Just because you know who did 9/11 doesn't mean you need to be an asshole to me, okay? But, it is what it is. I have to remind myself. That's why, like, it's hard for me to listen. I had to stop listening to a lot of these Orthodox people online. I checked out Jay Dyer. I forgot why I was listening to him. What was it? Why did I click it? It was yesterday because he was talking about Owen Benjamin. I was like, what is... Dude, that's like a battle I want to see. I do want to see Jay Dyer and Owen Benjamin have a battle. You know what I mean? I want to see these guys duke it out. So I was listening to him duke it out. I was listening to Jay Dyer make these comments about Owen Benjamin. And somehow Mormonism was brought up, and he was just trashing the Mormons. Like, dude, this is such ugly... you know what I mean? Some people can be so... let's just say orthodoxy is correct. You can be correct, Jay Dyer. I think you're right. But the way you present it is in the most un-Christ-like, ugly behavior. And I'm not even in the position to say things are Christ-like or not. But it's ugly. You know what I mean? Visually, to the way he speaks about the group of people I grew up with is ugly. It's an ugly behavior, and it's not beautiful. And it's under the guise of, like, ha ha, hee ha ha, I'm funny. You know what I mean? Hee ha ha, I'm funny. Look at all these retarded Mormons. It's like, dude, relax. They were born into it, okay? They're not retarded. They were just indoctrinated at a very young age, and you think they're retarded because they didn't have a choice when they were 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and it's Monday, and Monday morning, and they're reading their scriptures in the morning, and then they're going to family home evening night on Monday, and they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing that their parents are telling them, and you're mad at you. They're somehow retards. It's like, come on, dude. That's where, like, critical thinking, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Jay Dyer's supposed to be very smart, but all of his, like, analytical, critical thinking skills go out the window somehow. Maybe he's never been to Utah. Maybe he doesn't know the culture. And I understand Mormons are a global phenomenon, and they can be found anywhere and everywhere. And maybe most people might think of Mormons as, like, people are converted into it. But where I grew up, you were born into it, bud. Where I grew up, everyone around me was LDS. Everyone around me was in the game. You know what I mean? Everybody was the same. And that's something most people don't even know what it's like and that's disappearing even in Utah, where you go to a school and everyone around you has the same faith, the same belief system, and you go to the same church on Sunday. I bet an Orthodox person doesn't even know what that looks like. You know what I mean? They don't even know what that feels like, right? When an Orthodox person goes to school, they go to school and it's multicultural diversity. They go to school with Protestants. They go to school with Baptists. They go to school with a Buddhist. They go to school with a Muslim. They go to whatever, dude. Orthodox people probably live in a multicultural area where, where there's not a lot of Orthodox people. There might be a couple friends when they go to church who are Orthodox, but in general, most of the kids in the school they go to are not Orthodox. Where I grew up, everyone was Mormon. Every single person, every single kid I went to school with, LDS. From elementary, junior high, high school, all of us the same. All of us the same belief system, all of us the same church. Some of us went to different churches, but you get it. And we were all indoctrinated, dude. And somehow we're all retards for that. And I just find that rude and unbecoming. And it's distasteful. And I don't like it. You know what I mean? But, like, when you're battling, I guess in this world where, like, somehow you're battling prelest, you're battling the demonic forces, you're battling heretic behaviors, you're battling blasphemy. All cards are off the table. You got to call things what they are. You got to call a spade a spade. So that makes sense. But, have a little bit of grace when you do it. Have a little bit of be better at it. You know what I mean? Be better, because when you do it, you look ugly. And you make me say to myself, why would I want to be Orthodox if this is how they act? And then I remind myself, oh yeah, he's not the church. He's just a person. Most Orthodox people aren't like this. They wouldn't call an entire group of people retarded or retards. And they'd maybe have a little bit more sympathy. They'd have a little more compassion. They'd have a little bit more understanding of that demographic, of that group of people. But so that kind of bothered me. And, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, that's why I can't listen to Orthodox people anymore, because they bother me, dude. They are so self-righteous, and they're so assured of themselves. They think their shit don't stink. And you know what I mean? The other thing, like, they just, I think Jesus Christ is the way, okay? I think you can go to an Orthodox church and have a bad priest. I do. I'm sorry. I think you could, and they say, they'd say, talk to your priest, talk to your, father. I think you can be an Orthodox Christian and go to a church that's led by a corrupt individual. I don't believe in this fantasy land where just because you're an Orthodox Christian and you go to an Orthodox church that everything's hunky-dory and your priest, your father is, divinely inspired all the time. I think he's a human. I think he could be faulty. I think that priest could be just like how people make fun of the Catholic priest. I think that person could be led astray morally or internally or not be the best person at all. I think your best chance of finding salvation, of finding Christ, is in an Orthodox church, but that doesn't mean all Orthodox churches are equal. I think there's probably some good ones, some not so good ones, some mediocre ones. And just telling people to go to an Orthodox church, that's good advice, but is every Orthodox church going to help somebody find Christ? Are they going to, maybe they find an Orthodox church where like they are ostracized. Maybe the community doesn't really, isn't tightly knit. Maybe they don't fit in. Maybe it's just not the right thing for them, that one. And there's a lot of choices when you think about Orthodoxy in some respects. For some people, there's not a lot of choices. There's just that one they can go to. What are you guys saying? Do you ever think to yourself, what would Joseph Smith do? Me? No. I've never thought to myself that. The Provo frogs, I can't read I can't read that Dick Sword Yogi Guru, are born into the Gawada. Do you, dude, you are doing the Jay is mean routine. I know I am doing the Jay is mean routine. I know that. But here's the truth. Maybe I'm right. Okay. Maybe Jay is mean. Yeah. But when the Orthodox go to a church with a bad priest, they're still not going to a cult like Mormons. My tech. No, I agree. My tech. It's how you look at a group of people. It's like saying all Jews run the world. We all know all Jews run the world, but when you call all Mormons retards, I mean, they're not retarded. My point is, rhetorically, it's not, and I get, yeah, Jay is mean. All right, yeah. He is, here's the thing. Could I be right? You know what I mean? And here's the thing. Dude, I think he is mean. And that can be okay. And has he addressed that he is a mean person? And has he resolved, is it okay to be mean, by the way? Is it okay to be mean? Is it okay to call a whole group of people retards? Is that really what we're about? Is that like if you join the Orthodox Church and you find the true faith and you're a really smart person, is the best way of going about things being rude, being mean? I get it, dude. I get it. Jay is mean. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it makes sense, dude. My tech, when you say that, I know what you mean. Because Jay Dyer, when people, I've heard so many people say, "Oh, Jay Dyer, you're saying he's mean. Quit being a pussy." Maybe I am being a pussy about it. All right, But I'm seeing there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between Orthodox teachings as far as the limited understanding I have of them and Christ-like teachings and the way he portrays himself. And whether he likes it or not, he represents the Orthodox Church. And if being an Orthodox Christian is in some way being an asshole, is that really what it's about? Is that really what it's about? Is being an asshole? I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a disconnect there for me, right? There's a disconnect there for me because I think if you find the one and only true church and you know that Christ is Lord and you believe in the Trinity and you're all about that business and then you're still an asshole, you choose to be one. I mean, that's a him problem. You know what I mean? You think you'd be a better person. You'd think you'd be a better person. And, I just don't like, the only thing, I was just personally, maybe it's a me problem too. I was like personally attacked. I'm like, dude, I'm not a retard. I was born into it. The people I know are not retards. We were born into it. We were indoctrinated into it. And you're calling it a cult? Like, where's the sympathy and compassion for the people born into the cult, right? It's like, oh, you're in a cult. Motherfucker, I was born into it. Okay? Relax. I didn't use my critical thinking skills to solve the problem that I mean, how long did it take Jay Dyer to figure out Orthodoxy was the true church? How long did it take that dude? Was he born into it or did he have to figure it out? And he looks down on everybody else, just like a conspiracy theorist, exactly like a conspiracy theorist because he figured it out and other people haven't. There's no difference between him and a conspiracy theorist in the way they carry themselves once they figured out the truth of a situation. I know who did 9/11, the Jews. You know what I mean? Like, I'm better than you. I've solved that equation. Like, there's no humility. There's no humbleness. Christ is humble, and that characteristic has escaped Jay Dyer. You know what I mean? Because it must have been hard for him to figure out that the Orthodox Church is the true church. Because if it was easy, he would have done it when he was a kid. He would have realized when he was a young child that whatever religious group he was a part of was incorrect. It was not the right one, and he would have solved that at a very young age. But it took him, I think, a long time to figure it out. And just as somebody who was born into the cult, as they call it. You know what I mean? It's like, how does nobody have compassion or empathy for the people born into this thing? Yeah, Jay Dyer's mean. Fuck. You got me, okay? But also, that dismissive Jay Dyer's mean is the same thing like when people say Smoky Man bad. It's there's a rhetorical way to describe this where you minimize my arguments by boiling it down to just saying, I'm saying Jay Dyer's mean. I think I'm saying a little bit more than that, okay? I think I'm saying a little bit more than Jay Dyer's just mean. Just like when people say Smoky Man bad, when my little rant about Andrew Wilson, oh, and I cannot listen to that guy anymore. That guy, Andrew Wilson, fed. Just joking. But honestly, probably most likely unintentional fed, dude. Andrew Wilson is an unintentional fed. And if you don't know what I'm saying his there's a term meteoric. His rise in the past 4 years, unusual. Okay. And you could chalk it off to hard work. This guy just works hard. Andrew Wilson just works really hard, okay, doesn't he? To be a Fed online doesn't mean you go into the CIA office and you sign some papers and you're like, yeah, reporting for duty, I'm going to go make a YouTube channel. No, unintentional Fed. Andrew Wilson is an unintentional Fed. What do I mean by that? I mean, Andrew Wilson's just a normal guy, just like me or you. He decided to make a YouTube channel, and then what happened was it's like this, dude. Somebody saw Andrew Wilson, somebody saw Andrew Wilson, right? And this is what happened. They saw Andrew Wilson and they said, oh, I know what we can do with that guy. Let's give him money. And then when he does it, just like Andrew Wilson is a rat in a cage. Okay, this is called, is it Pavlovian? It's some psychological. Andrew Wilson was psychologically controlled with money online. Let me explain. So Andrew Wilson makes a statement online, right? Some Fed, everybody knows what US aid is, right? And how that was used to manipulate culture, send money everywhere, right? There's got to be an alternative to US aid that the Republicans or another group of people uses. And they found Andrew Wilson and they said, as soon as he says something we agree with, send a $50 donation. Boom, they send it. Now Andrew Wilson, he's an unintentional Fed. He doesn't know he's being used by the powers that be. And people who are controlling Andrew Wilson are doing so with money. And every time Andrew Wilson made a step in the past 4 years in the direction they wanted him to go, $50 was dropped, $100 was dropped, $20 was dropped in his little give me money thing. And another $100 was dropped. And by the time where we are, the Skinner box, maybe. He is absolutely, and he doesn't know this. Andrew Wilson doesn't even know he's a Fed, right? Unbeknownst to him, Andrew Wilson's, he thinks he did all of this himself. He's like, no, this was all me. I made all of this. My tech, I bothered my tech. Have a nice day. You too, buddy. Sorry I bothered you. And this is just what happens when you attack some of these people's idols, I guess. Or maybe you're not bothered. Maybe I'm just reading into it. This is how I think Andrew Wilson is an unintentional Fed. Okay, I went to Jay Dyer is mean to Andrew Wilson Fed real quick. Speed run. But it's true, and a lot of people don't even understand how this might be possible, how people can be pushed, how people can be nudged, how you can be psychologically manipulated by things outside of your control, outside of your awareness. And Andrew Wilson, I'm not saying went to the CIA office, has a CIA badge, works for the FBI. No, none of that. Andrew Wilson doesn't even know he has been nudged, guided, pushed into the position he is in. And Andrew Wilson, I'll give him all the credit. He built a very successful YouTube channel. He did all of it on his own. But all I'm saying is there is an entity out there. There is a power outside of him that he is unaware of that has been gradually, slowly pushing him to the top, helping him develop his own not worldview, but his own channel and everything that has to do with it and grow that. And that's my thought. Unintentional Fed Andrew Wilson. And I was thinking, how many more other people are like that where they're unintentional Feds? Because a lot of people don't understand, like they'll watch TikTok videos and they won't understand that TikTok video is guerrilla marketing. So you'll see some, and if you don't know what guerrilla marketing is, it's essentially like you're watching an advertisement, but you don't know it's an advertisement. Someone paid maybe some TikTokers to make a sketch in a movie theater to promote the movie The Odyssey, right? And you're watching it like, oh, that's so funny. This TikToker made this sketch about the Odyssey in a movie theater. Haha, that's funny. But actually, that's guerrilla marketing. And those TikTokers were paid to make that sketch in a movie theater for the movie The Odyssey to put butts in the seats. And so, I think the same things are happening all across the world. And I don't know if there's ortho feds, like some Jesuit New World Order. And I don't know who would be pushing Andrew Wilson or who has the money to do that. I think it's probably like a slush fund, trust fund. And they look online to people who identify with their morals or principles, and then they just dump money in their pockets. So I think Andrew Wilson's probably like a number of other people online, from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube to Rumble, who get money from a third party they're not aware of to push ideas that coincide with that group's agenda. And that's my only point. Unintentional Feds. Unintentional. He clearly gets paid by the Feds. I don't think it's clear. I think it's unintentional. Andrew Wilson, you could call him Drew, like Pavlov's dogs. Yeah, maybe. The case you are making makes every person an unintentional Fed. Think on the macro. If you extrapolate out, this becomes untenable and makes everyone human being a target in some way. No, I think I'm right, though. Every human is a potential target. I think I think you have a point, Dr. John Danger. I think you have a point. I think these are just my thoughts. It's not like I believe this stuff. These are just some of my thoughts. And I don't, gun to my head. Do I really believe this? No. Maybe I do, but not, not in my heart of hearts. The money laundering through live streams has been going on forever. Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying money laundering is occurring. I'm saying there's entities out. It's like when Charlie Kirk was getting money from the Jews, right? Charlie Kirk was getting money from the Jews. What's Charlie Kirk gonna do? You know what I mean? He's gonna be pro-Jew. He knew he was getting money from the Jews though. And so he was pushed and nudged. I just think there are a lot of people online getting money, and they don't have to disclose where they're getting their money from. And there's some dishonesty that's occurring. It's like investing into potential that you want to go into a direction. Yeah. You get it. They just want him on the Hegelian dialectic, manufactured consent debating circle. Maybe. It's a circular argument. Maybe. Dude, I don't mind being wrong. These are just thoughts I have. When I come on here and I share my thoughts, that doesn't mean I'm right. This is just a thought I have, folks. Okay? I just had a thought that somebody, and it's just a thought, an unintentional fed. That was the whole thought. The whole thought is, could someone be a fed online and not even know it? Potentially, if someone could be a fed online and not even know it, who could it be? It could be Andrew Wilson, because Andrew Wilson, I've watched his rise to the very top. And my thought was, maybe there's somebody out there nudging him, pushing him in the direction they want him to go. You know what I mean? And it's very simple, right? And I know this as a streamer. Let's say I'm streaming and I'm about to end my show, and so all of a sudden I get a donation. And they're like, hey, great stream, Provo. I'm like, oh, maybe I should keep streaming. They gave me money. Or if I'm talking about a topic and someone gives me money about that topic, it's going to reinforce my belief in that topic. Like, oh, like I'm a dumb animal. I just got money for talking about Charlie Kirk. I'm Candace Owens. I'm going to keep talking about Charlie Kirk. People can reinforce whatever you're doing through money and through donations, through super chats. And that was just my thought. And, because everybody, when they think about feds online, it's always an intentional fed. That's my point. When people think about YouTube feds or feds online, it's the person they're thinking about they're thinking they made a conscious choice to be a fed. I think there are feds online who did not make a conscious choice, right? They're just normal people like me and you, perhaps, if you're normal, who decided to make a YouTube channel one day, and all of a sudden they're being pushed and pulled into a certain direction, and they don't even know it. And they're being pushed and pulled into a direction that is meant to sway an audience into a certain belief system, right? And that's all. That's my only thought. Take it or leave it. You don't have to agree with me. I just the thought is unintentional fed. That's all. Take it or leave it. It's tough, dude. It's tough when you build up an audience, and some of them, they're like, dude, please don't say anything bad about the other YouTubers I like. Please don't say anything. It's like, I have thoughts, you guys, and I don't even, and this is how I work through my thoughts. I just talk out loud. Okay. And then, tomorrow I might not even believe in what I'm saying, but, I can't change, dude. So if you don't like when I talk about, and usually my rule of thumb is never talk about other people, and I try not to. But Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson are so big. Whatever I say doesn't really matter. They're gonna keep being successful. And the weird thing is, dude, I talk about these guys and the people I have talked about. It's like, I'm grateful because they have brought me to a closer understanding of Orthodox Christianity and, of going to church. And it's weird, dude. Like, it's like your parents. You grow up and you idolize your parents, and all of a sudden you're an adult and you see the faults in them. I like Jay Dyer. I like Andrew Wilson. I like Made by Jim Bob. I like these content creators, okay? I think they're good people, but I can still look at them and have a critical thought in my head, which I'm surprised other people. It is interesting, the chatters and the people, like, once they identify with a content creator, for some reason, they're unable to construct anything negative about them. I like to keep my doors open on how I see and perceive things. Just because I like Jay Dyer doesn't mean I can't be critical about some things about him. And just because I like Andrew Wilson doesn't mean I can't be critical, you know. And I do like Andrew Wilson, even though I can't listen to him in a large part because I don't like being told, in quotes, hey, fuckers, give me your money. I don't really identify with that kind of language or that kind of demanding of money. I don't like that. But just it's weird because people will like the one of the rants I went on where like I lost like 6 subscribers because I was going after Andrew Wilson. I was saying things about Made by Jim Bob. It's weird how like these people can't take any negative criticism about the same content creators we both like, right? It's like, why are these people so idolized by some of these chatters that, that nobody can say anything critical about them? It's fascinating. And I'm not saying I hate these guys. I'm on your team. I just have critical thoughts sometimes, dude. And you know what I mean? So what? Who cares? I'm not pushing the needle. I'm not telling people unsubscribe or don't listen to them or they're wrong. It's just like how I feel as a Mormon when Jay Dyer calls all of my group of people retards. I think I don't like that. That's all I'm saying. I don't like that. I don't like that because we were born into it. We're not retards. We're just people who were born into a religion, dude. Didn't really have a choice about it. And I like Andrew Wilson. I like what he's doing to fight the degens. But I don't like when he does this. You know what I mean? You can like a content creator and still be critical about them. You know what I mean? You can like people, but still find things in them that you don't identify with, you don't align with. You don't have to like everything about a person. And if you do like everything about a person, you have rose-tinted glasses on and you're not being honest with yourself because nobody's perfect. There's lots of things I don't even like about myself, damn it. Shit. Relax. And it's like people, you attacked my favorite person. I gotta not like you anymore. It's like the people, like I'm sure Andrew Wilson heard what I said. I guaranteed still have a beer with me. He'd be like, no, I get what you're saying, Provo. You're a retard, but I still think you're a cool guy. You know what I mean? That's how I would see it. Like Jay Dyer would be like, oh, this fucking Mormon guy. You know what? You're actually kind of cool, dude. But you need to be an Orthodox tomorrow. I think the people who I've been critical of at the end of the day would have a beer with me or have a coffee or whatever and still think, like Provo, you're still a cool guy. And, I don't agree with you either on a lot of things. Here's where you're a retard, Provo. But I understand people's loyalty to their content creators. And, well, I get it. It makes sense. Okay. Be loyal to the foil. Be loyal to your team. Don't let anybody trash talk them. I'm the same way. It's deficiency of human fallen state coupled with viewers who are starved for something more than niceness slap. So very much they are both excessively influential and redirecting in many ways. Well put, Dr. John Danger. Such a weird time when you could make money sitting in a chair with a microphone in front of you talking into a screen. Can't knock the hustle, but I wouldn't depend on it. Content slaves. Yeah. And we're all, I'm a content slave. And the weirdest part is I've found myself in the area of content that I found when I first was on YouTube, it was like slop content. And then I found quality. I think, these Orthodox people I've been discussing, I've been watching for a while. They are hands down my favorite content creators as far as live streamers go. Jay Dyer, I don't watch him a lot. I think he's one of the best. Andrew Wilson, don't watch him a lot anymore. One of the best. Made by Jim Bob, don't watch him a lot anymore. One of the best. I like these guys. You know what I mean? I think they're good people. And they did a lot of good for me in helping me identify, the issues with the LDS Church, the issues with Protestants, the issues with Catholics, and I'm thankful to them for that. And they've helped me also understand people online are not orthodoxy. They're just people. And I've had to separate that. I've had to, be like, oh, you know what? Jim Bob, Andrew Wilson, Jay Dyer, they're not orthodoxy. They're just people online who are Orthodox Christians. The Orthodox Church is not Jim Bob. The Orthodox Church is not Jay Dyer. Don't conflate the two, Provo. Don't be an idiot. And so I've been grateful for them for that lesson too. Like, they're human. And, you know, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to be fallen. They're going to say things that bother me, but that's not the Orthodox Church saying that. And I think a lot of people struggle in even getting to that point and they'll, because I know people like just listen to Jay Dyer and they'll say he's mean and therefore orthodoxy is wrong. I'm not like that. No. I like orthodoxy. And just because I disagree with Jay Dyer doesn't change my view on the Orthodox Church. I still think the Orthodox Church is the correct path, is the right way to go forward in my life, whatever. But Jay Dyer would stamp his autograph on your forehead and walk away with his espresso held high. Yeah. Thank you, Jay Dyer, for the attention. Inevitably, all of us, them too, are inferior and deficient outside the church. Yeah, and I agree with that, you know. And I'm just trying to find my way. When I come on here and I rant, these are just me trying to work through my thoughts. Because outside of this space, I can't, you know, outside of this space, I can't really share my thoughts about these. Nobody wants to hear, in my personal life, hear me talk about Jay Dyer or Orthodox Christianity or Andrew Wilson. This is like the only time I get to share my thoughts with these subjects with you guys. I don't know. And I apologize if I bothered anybody or if I offended anybody. That's not my goal. But I just had to get that stuff off my chest. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. God bless you all. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Have a great day.
Everybody hates me. Got houses way in Katy. You cannot escape me. Lamborghini Valet. Everybody hates me. Got houses way in Katy. You cannot escape me. Lamborghini Valet. Me, I was raised by tyrants and stuff, but a Scotch giant. I sipped up in silence. And my sins are ultraviolet. I was sleeping on Saturn. I was flying with the dragons. I came back from vacation, singing hooks like Lenny Kravitz. I told her everything that my heart imagined, but it didn't matter. Still hit me with the dagger, 'cause everybody hates me. Got houses way in Katy. You cannot escape me. Lamborghini Valet. Everybody hates me. Houses way in Katy. You cannot escape me. Lamborghini Valet. Here's the young Vince Carter. Falling on you, your wife, your daughter. Bus is not charter. Drink smells like pink water. Talking cool water cologne. When I'm riding on chrome, got security cameras in Rome, just in case I'm not home. I got strippers in New Hampshire. It's Versace berry dancer. You are now listening to the Panther. It's the neon one, the neon silver swan. All the haters alone, long gone. Everybody hates me. Got houses way in Katy. You cannot escape me. Lamborghini Valet.